Hi, and welcome back. I'm here with Alex. Alex handles all your car accident, personal injury needs, whether it's a slip and fall, so you fell someplace, or you got into a car accident. What you do is ask Alex, and then Alex will tell you what you need to do.
Thank you. I didn't know that now I have a podcast name.
I think it's good. You've been using this now like as clips or different things. Um, I love that you just like kind of like we're not sure what we're really doing, but you're just like, I want to try something different. And that's like what I love doing with people because I'm I renamed myself as your bossy friend. So I'm your bossy friend and I'm like, you should do this. And you're like, okay, let's do it. And that's what's so amazing about being an entrepreneur is you just have to do things and figure it out like you did with building your firm. You went to law school, you know how to be an attorney,
Right.
but it's very different being an attorney than a businessman.
Definitely.
You're like,
You wear many hats.
yeah. And you're like, sometimes you just want to practice law and you just want to be into that. What was one of the things with opening up your own firm that you were like, oh my gosh, nobody told me I needed to do this?
Well, luckily I had good mentors, other PI attorneys who opened up their firms. So I think most of the bases were covered. With the lawyers, you always have to be careful about trust accounting. So you need to open a trust account and keep very careful, records. I don't think there's
Can you
anything
explain what a
missing.
trust account is? Just so,
Yes.
yeah.
So after a case settles, the billboards you see for like big settlements, and but after a case settles, right, there's an agreement between the attorney of the injured party and insurance company of the defendant. The insurance company sends me a check for a certain amount, let's say $100,000 or whatever, and then before the attorney can call every doctor's office, every lien holder, and say, let's negotiate. Could you reduce the amount so that this way the client gets as much as possible? Because first, what happens is the attorney takes out a third or whatever it is that the fee may be. If it's in court, it could be 40%, right? And then all the lien holders get paid, usually medical providers, and then everything else goes to the client. So when that happens, an attorney deposits the settlement check into what's known as the IOTA or IOTA, depending on which state you're in. It's an interest bearing trust account that the Bar Association knows about, and that it's an account that you can temporarily put the funds in with the client's permission, but you cannot touch that money until there's something called a final settlement statement. And that's something that the client and the lawyer sign, that this is the accounting. This is where every dollar of the settlement goes. Let's say the attorney gets a third from the gross amount, then every lien holder gets a certain whatever reduced amount that they agreed upon, and the client gets the rest. So trust accounting records is extremely, extremely important. So I had to learn how to do that. And luckily for me, by the time I opened up my firm, the Florida bar made a deal with this M&T bank. There's a website called Nora that helps attorneys for free. There's a program, software program that keeps attorneys, keep track of trust accounting. And me being a new business owner, that helped me a lot.
Interesting. So not every bank is able to be a bank for an attorney.
No, you could open a trust account in many banks, but the program that the M&T bank is not so much a bank. It's just there's a website, the part of the bank that uses a software that partnered with the Florida bar. That's actually probably applicable to many bars across the board. That helps in accounting. So it helps because when you keep records of your trust account, they have to be very meticulous. Every single check needs to be accounted for as to which client it belongs to. And that program helps attorneys basically painlessly, keep these records. With a click of a mouse, you allocate everything. You don't have to worry about the trust accounting. It's an extra step, being a business owner and an attorney.
So crazy.
Did I already confuse you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
In short, I'm
so
lucky that
much.
there's tools out there now that
Yeah.
makes my life easier. And maybe had I opened 5 years ago as opposed to 3 years ago on my own, maybe things would have been even more difficult.
Interesting. Wow, I
I
know.
live in
It's
interesting times now with
yeah. Well,
technology.
technology and AI, and it's so funny. So many places and so many people are advertising how to have like pretty much your whole staff be AI bots, which is ridiculous and crazy. And I don't know. I'm interested in this whole concept, but at the same time, I mean, I love having a staff. I love like the human connection of somebody and talking to somebody and strategizing and like AI doesn't only knows so much, right?
You have to be careful. You have to look over the work product of an AI, but at the same time, I love the new tech.
So do you use a lot of AI in your practice?
Not a lot, but strategically. I mean, assuming it's with lawyers, you have to make sure everything's encrypted and compliant with HIPAA regulations because you're an I'm an injury lawyer, so there are certain products out there that offer that, and certain offer but not so much. You have to be careful with what you use, but absolutely, especially if you're a solo practice and you have clients calling you, like not to use it nowadays would be a mistake. You have to be careful, but I'm a big proponent of using it.
I heard that there's some attorneys that have been uploading documents onto AI and it's a big no-no, right?
It's a no-no unless the AI meets the requirements of security and privacy that the one needs, and I only use the compliant ones.
Oh, so there are
There are,
compliant.
yes.
Okay. Okay. I was wondering. I was like, or do you have to pay the paid version of ChatGPT? No, but there's like actual attorney AI.
There's Attorney AI. You could get a paid version of ChatGPT that's secure, but you have to be careful not to put any confidential information when you use that. It's called ChatGPT Business. There are certain tools that are very easy to use for a PI lawyer because they're built with certain security features that PI lawyers can safely use. And then there are certain tools that, we still have to be, they're still secure, but you have to be careful.
So much of being a business owner these days, right? Like we have just so many things to think about. And
Yeah.
like how, and when I mean, I didn't have chat when I started my business. And now like you can kind of get lost in chat a little bit or Gemini or whatever, Claude. Now everybody's using Claude. I actually have been using Claude. Do you use Claude in your?
So I inquired with Claude, like, what's their most secure version is, because I heard lawyers using it, but I want to use the one that's applicable to personal injury, which they haven't responded yet, but I'm to respond with which product do you have that's
Which you probably can talk about a lot of your stuff in chat and work it through or Claude or whatever. But you probably obviously have to change like people's names and or amounts or something like that to like make it like the way an accident happened a little bit to make it more HIPAA compliant.
so. I mean, if it's not already fully compliant, you just have to redact or not use any real names, any real information. But that's the goal, just find those tools and that are fully compliant and secure.
It's fascinating.
Listen, whatever you do, just don't have an AI interview me that next time said to use, because I don't think AI can do it as well as you.
They get no, and that's what I'm like afraid of like AI, like taking over a lot of jobs. But everybody's like so excited because they're like humans will be more free. But at the same time, there's something that I mean, we need human connection and human brains, and it helps our brains and keeps us active and not depressed. Also, I don't know. There's a fine line between AI and where we're going. I don't. It's a lot, right?
Right.
It's overwhelming. I just been talking to a lot of people recently and starting to use it more myself. That's why I'm like really in it right now. That's why I'm bringing it up in conversation.
Sure.
And it is interesting with law also because I mean you can't get in trouble at the board. That would be a no-no. But like, how would they find out if you were using ChatGPT?
If there's if there's an error,
Mm.
if let's say there's a motion that a lawyer has to write and makes up a case, that's a big no-no. It gets you in trouble. Yeah, yeah. You have to carefully check the work product.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Do you ever like, could you say like take a picture of it and then summarize this document for me? Or no?
Um, I mean, why not? If it's a good, secure program, PI lawyers have to dig through, hundreds of pages of medical records. But if there's a tool out there to help, well, why not use it? Assuming you check everything.
That is true. You guys have a lot of reading to do. A lot. Do you read because like books or anything? Because you probably read so much for work. So do you ever read like anything? Do you?
For fun,
Yeah.
it's been a while since I found time
This is one of because most attorneys.
between work and family
Yeah.
and falling asleep. Occasional TV show.
Oh, what do you watch? What's your TV shows? Choice.
Right now, my wife and I are watching Silo, a sci-fi
Okay.
series,
Yeah.
dystopian. Very limited technology. Everyone's stuck underground.
And
No one knows what happens. Some kind of cataclysmic event, and everyone's on the ground.
oh my gosh.
I don't think they have judges. Not sure if they have lawyers in that society, in the dystopian society. That
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So you guys are enjoying that?
like
So you have like
sci-fi.
a show you guys binge for a little bit and then you like go to the next one?
Most of the time, fall asleep. Takes a while to get through a
Well, with the
single
kids
episode.
and then yeah.
Exactly.
And by the time you're end of the day, yeah, you're just exhausted.
But do you have like sci-fi crime shows, stuff like that?
Interesting. I met somebody the other day that's an actual like detective, or not crime scene investigator. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's actually like it's a real job. You don't think of it as a real job only on TV. You're like, that's a TV job, right? It's so funny. But then, I mean, you obviously deal with crime scene investigators. Funny that's somebody I was like, you're real. You're not on TV.
Right. It's more fun than an injury lawyer, right? Like we're all over
Yeah.
the billboards.
Yeah. But like they're at the scene and they have to investigate to put like what happened together, right? It's a whole puzzle. That's crazy. Anyways. All right. I'm sure you have some crazy stories of some clients and things. I kind of wanted to get into that with you because we're in a busy-ish season. I know we're going into summer and it's getting a little quieter, but I'm sure you've had some interesting cases that have signed on or so.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
I welcome every chance to help injured people.
Yeah.
I genuinely feel bad for everyone who's hurt, especially if you're seriously hurt.
Has there been a um well, actually, a couple questions. As I'm wording this question, I have a couple questions that came up.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so a slip and fall case that was kind of odd that has come to you recently. What is something that has happened? Like somebody slipped and fell in a parking lot, or what? I don't know.
I'll pick up different ones. You have people falling in a grocery store, usually some kind of liquid. Had one with a child, cutting his leg on a glass bottle fell. Had an older person just slipped on liquid, and those actually happen. And one of the most important things that an attorney should prove in such situations is that the store had adequate notice, enough time to know that there was a problem, and then failing to fix it. So if something, let's say, happens 5 seconds before, let's say, milk spills, and 5 seconds later somebody slips, falls, and even gets seriously hurt, it'll be very, very difficult for an attorney to prove that the store had enough notice to do something better. And such information can sometimes upset an injured person because you're hurt and you want to hold somebody responsible for that. But the first step in every injury lawyer's case is to prove liability, to prove fault of whoever it is that you could potentially sue. And in this case, it would be a grocery store, right? So if I cannot prove that the grocery store messed up, that there was negligence, that they breached the duty of care, right, then I will not be successful in getting compensation, because who would want it? No one's going to pay if they're not responsible. But if enough time passed, or let's say I had a case like the child's case, very little time passed, a minute or so, under a minute, normally would not be enough. But then, when the store sent me the video, and then they were so happy about the video, how little time passed. I'm like, yeah, but look, your employee just like passed by that hazard and didn't do anything. So even though very little time passed, very little time. And
When there's
normally,
negligence
it's
because
not because
someone
of
just
that.
did like
Right. So that actually helped turn the case around. Their own video they were posting about, you know, um,
you would probably were so happy and was just like, yay, thank you. You just gave me
right.
the golden ticket. Yeah.
But pretty much some, and they would sometimes be stubborn and say, we're not providing you evidence before you file the lawsuit because we don't have to. It's work product, right? And they don't have to do many things pre-suit, right? But then, well, when you do file, but also think about it at the same time, if they're not eager to give it to you pre-suit, maybe the evidence there is not so amazing for them, even though they say it, maybe it's not. So when you like attorney has to not be afraid to file. It's very important to be brave and not be afraid to file lawsuits. Obviously, you have to discuss with the client that, listen, the court is expensive. Just to file costs about $400 to get a process server, $500 altogether, sometimes more, if you need to pay the process server to do multiple attempts. And then there are other fees, and it's very serious to file, but there are times that you have to be brave and file. Let's do it. The client deserves justice. Let's get that evidence. And then they have no choice but to give it over. And then you see, aha, things were not as great for you as you said they were.
Yeah. It's almost like you're playing poker,
Yeah.
right?
My job is poker. It's chess.
Yeah.
A lot of times. So.
Because you can't let people see your hand.
Right.
Because if they know like you're bluffing or whatever, right? Like it's all of that. Because as soon as, like you said, like if you're
Insurance companies don't, yeah, they don't always play nice. When they play hardball, you have to play hardball back. You have to do what's best for your client.
yeah. But it's a lot of like poker. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
I don't play poker that much, but maybe I should.
You should. I think you should play poker. I'm actually better at like blackjack. But blackjack is not like poker. I mean,
I'm Eastern European, so I like chess.
Okay. Okay, so chess, but chess is great. It's like that's a huge brain game. I remember I grew up playing chess, and it's me. One of the chess coaches that I had, he goes, there's always a reason why you did a move.
Right, exactly.
And I was like, I don't think so, blah, blah, blah. I was like 7 at the time. And he goes, no, there's always a reason. And so I just would do moves and do, just to prove my point, right? I'd be like, nope, I'm just doing this move, whatever. And then he would explain why I did that move. And I was like, darn it, you really are right. I was like, yeah, actually, I see why I would be exposed here. And this, but I just thought moving a pawn or whatever it was like, I don't know, just no big deal. So it always stuck with me. He's like, everything you do in life should be a reason why you do something.
Every move matters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same in PI law. Everything you do matters.
That's really fascinating. So you don't really play poker, which is so funny because isn't that like an Eastern European thing?
It might be a stereotype, right? You have some kind of TV shows. So
Well, you're not playing Texas Hold'em, that's for sure.
The mafia, right? The Russian mob comes into a bar and they're like, no.
Yeah.
It's chess for me.
All right.
Yeah. I don't deal with the shady people. I'm not like Saul Goodman. Even though that guy had some good marketing, not Better Call Saul, but.
What?
You remember Breaking Bad?
Oh, I never watched it.
Oh, you have to watch that. If there's one show that you have to push yourself to watch, it's Breaking Bad.
I know people love it. I never got into it. It was very, very popular.
And there is a lawyer there. So yeah, like I said, it's a giveaway.
Yeah. Yeah. It is, entrepreneurship is not for the weak. And somebody said to me, Um, Entrepreneurs are crazy because we'll take risk and we will just like do whatever it takes to like make stuff happen. But when you're okay like not taking any sort of risk, that's when you're really good for working for somebody else, which is great because we need everybody to do everything, different areas. So do you take risk? I mean, apparently you do if you went out on your own, but like, do you feel like you're a little risky?
I mean, when deciding to what case to accept, I like to play it safe because it's not just me, it's mainly the client. So if a client comes to me and I feel like we may not have enough to prove, liability, to prove negligence, or let's say liability is good, but I mean, with a scratch on the car and a person's injuries are so minute that I mean, what money am I gonna get you here? So sometimes, yeah, if I feel, what prompts me and triggers me to take risks, if I feel that someone was wrong, if I feel like that case with a child in the gazebo, or I think I might have mentioned in one of our other clubs, a recent immigrant from Ukraine or Belarus or some who spoke no English, who basically got hit by a car, and then the other driver told the officer that she just spontaneously fell, but there was no contact, and the officer and the other driver spoke the same language, and the officer believed that driver. And I was so triggered by that, and when just no one believed that poor lady, and had to get the videos from the police report, and argue and fight with the insurance company, and then the police eventually, justice prevails. And that stuff is when actually the police reported the way it was written, it was actually against her. It was against my client. Like she sort of like almost orchestrated this whole thing, and then there was no contact, and she just fell um, from her scooter, right? And that stuff like that feels good. Like when I mean, for I like helping I'd fine, but especially when I feel there's specific injustice done towards a client, that really triggers me. And of course, the basics still have to be there. I still have to feel that based on the facts, there's liability, there's causation, right? And there's damages, and there's, I could get compensation for the client. If something is missing, for I could be very upset, but if it's not a case, then it's not a case. I'm not afraid to tell people the way I think, even if it's something that doesn't sound good. Like I get calls, all the time. People feel very wrong. For example, someone would say, "I almost got hit by a car," and I was so distressed that I was anxious for a week after I was 1 inch from death. I mean, that's horrible. That's absolutely horrible. But when you don't have physical manifestations, in an emotional damage, then there's not much an attorney could do. And I always bring up the example from movies, from James Bond, how, a superhero like almost one more inch and the bullet would get him, but it didn't. And like James Bond came to my office and asked me to sue the bad guy, and I don't know if I would have prevailed. And so similarly, so of course I decline cases. I tell people the way it is, and sometimes they don't want to hear it, but I think most of the time they appreciate the honesty. There are unfortunately people in my field who promise, and the competition in PI is so rough. It is so fierce. It's like a Shark Tank, and there are PI lawyers out there who will, smell a decent case, whatever, and they will go ahead. And in response to a question I often get, "Oh, how much can I get here?" My answer is, it depends on so many factors. I cannot, in all honesty, give you an answer because it depends on the liability, causation, injuries, insurance coverage, so many factors. And then a person might get upset and call lawyer B, and lawyer B is like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get rich over here." First of all, it's not even proper to do that. Whoever does that, I mean, It's not ethical to do that. But nevertheless, there are, clients. It's human psychology. Well, clients like to be promised, just like by politicians, right? And I don't know what ends up happening, but that's a risk I never take. I never take a risk of over promising. I would rather deliver. Um,
Over the
surprise.
underpass.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I would rather make less money than somehow indirectly, unintentionally, deceive a person. God forbid. That's not how I work.
I want to go into a couple things. Like I think people with I'm gonna go back to well, let's go to mental health for a second, and then we'll go to the other question.
Okay.
Mental health, people like that's a hard thing to prove, right? You have to get a diagnosis from the psychologist because like people get hit in accidents if physical and mental
Yeah.
things that happen. Um, whether they were hit by a truck or whatever, well, they have this PTSD that happens. And I know I am guilty of it. I was driving, I had just turned 17 and I was driving out of my parents' neighborhood.
You're not 17,
I still think I am. I was driving out of my parents' neighborhood and I looked both ways, but then there's like this curve or whatever it is. And I didn't look again because I was waiting for this other car to pass. I pull out. All of a sudden, I look over and I see this car coming straight at me. I freak out. I didn't know if I should go forward or backwards or I froze, right? So then I start going, like, I realize I'm like, okay, I think I should just like gun it and go. And then we end up like hitting like our corners, right? Like my driver's corner. What do you call it? I don't know. Like the right side, left side, front left side of the front car. I'm sure there's a terminology for it. No, I don't know.
Front left side. Okay, let's call it that.
And then his, like hit me, and obviously I felt horrible because I caused it. It was totally my fault. I didn't look again where I should have. And they were just coming around the corner, like what they were doing. But anyways, to this day, that was a long time ago. To this day, I still, when I drive out of their neighborhood, I get like a little like freaked out because I'm like, oh my gosh, it was a scary moment to my life.
Right.
So when you have these cases with your clients where they had much more traumatic injury, injury.
Yes. Strawberry margarita and nano pow. Perfect.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's a good drink. Yeah. So to this day, I still have like PTSD, and I know you have clients that have bigger like accidents that they have PTSD. And so how do you handle that in a case? Because
Medical records you need for just like for physical injuries.
yes,
Psych red, that's mental health evaluations. And it'll again depends on the doctor's opinions.
but do they hold up? Do mental health records hold up as much as physical records in a case?
They hold up as much. I mean, if the physical injury is there, connected to that, then yes,
Well, let's say it's not. I'm just gonna throw a hypothetical
If
situation.
there is no physical injury whatsoever, it's hard. There has to be at least physical contact or something in addition.
So let's say like it's I don't know, they had neck pain. I'm gonna throw a story to you.
Okay.
They have neck pain. They don't even have a herniation or a bulging, or if they have a bulging, it's slightly, like very minor. Let's say they did like 3 months of treatment because they had some neck pain.
Psychological. Oh, you mean physical?
Physical. But they also did 3 months of psychological treatment. But their psychological treatment is worse than what the physical like treatment is.
It's a case.
How does that affect the settlement though?
It's a case. If it affects, it would be a bigger settlement than without the psychological treatment. I'll leave it at there. It's a case.
Because of the psychological treatment,
Yes.
it still counts.
In addition to the physical injury.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I was curious. I just always think that's fascinating. I know you can't give like total legal advice on it because it's not a real case,
Yeah.
but I think it's interesting how mental health is very underplayed. And uh it's funny, I'm reading a book. It takes place in World War II right now. And it talks kind of about that type of stuff where it's like the mental health is like not even talked about in the 1940s. And now we
Right.
are talking
Yeah.
about it. It does play a role, but it's newer.
Yeah, I mean, again, depending on which jurisdiction you're in, but pure, emotional damage, pure emotional damage, because of negligence, without any physical manifestations, it's most likely not going to hold up.
Okay, so then I want to ask you this other question. We're going to switch topics for just a second.
All right.
In it, people assume, maybe we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. People assume if they slip and fall someplace, that they're automatically entitled to money, even if it's a parking lot. Um, maybe the parking lot, the leaves were not swept up, right? So they slipped on some leaves that were wet. Um, they feel like they're entitled to money, and that's not always the case, right?
No, it's not always the case. It's like what we spoke about
Yeah,
earlier. Well, you have to prove
I'm
liability.
giving it to the clients,
Yeah.
like because a lot of people I think feel this day and age entitled to a lot of things. Like I can just sue anybody. I can sue you. I can sue you.
Yeah. I mean,
Especially when they don't have to come out of pocket for it.
what I a lot of times what I dislike is that clients call me, and instead of just straight up taking my advice on certain issues, they would say to me, and I welcome questions, which is fine, but they say to me, "Oh, you know, my friend Ivan said that when his friend Peter was in a crash, Peter just did A, B, and C, and look, Peter got 100K." There are so many questions about what exactly happened to him. First of all, don't listen to these rumors. Don't listen to these hearsays. My biggest advice is don't try to get information from people, even if they talk about themselves, not only about third parties, because there's so many things that make each case unique that is just not fair. Not only that, but one of these people, told me about how his friend, Peter in California or New York or somewhere else. And again, each state has different rules, has different, or if you're someone said, "Oh, my friend, Mark up there in New York, you know, didn't pay anything to doctors after the case settled." And some lawyer, Joe Schmo, promised, Mark that after whatever settlement it is, he's gonna get like at least 50% of the full recovery. And I said that's great, that's amazing. But I mean, New York has no fault insurance that pays doctors like $50,000 or so, and Florida has 10. Georgia has nothing, right? I mean, you can't possibly trust a lawyer who makes these type of promises. If an attorney makes these type of promises, not knowing the full picture, something is not right. So, speaking, slip and fall. So when get them, nothing is guaranteed. Same thing with sometimes people get like rear-ended with a scratch, and they have like a little discomfort in their back, and they think they're entitled to mountains. No one's entitled to anything. Where the job of an attorney is to use the facts in the case as they are and do his or her best to fight for justice and for fight for compensation, but everything is case dependent.
Do you feel like I'm gonna go back to AI again? I'm all over the place today. But you're following along. You're staying with.
I'm trying.
Um, do you think people are relying on chat to like help them win their own cases now? Do you think like oh, I'm just going to tell chat what I did. I'm going to negotiate with the contract. So I don't have to pay my attorney, 30%, right? So I'll have chat help you work this case up for me. Um, do you see that or do you think that's going to be a thing? Or because there's that one person that's always like, I don't need an attorney. I know how to negotiate.
Now, AI is still recent. Like I've had people call me who thought they don't need an attorney, but then crucial steps were missed. They even came late to me, and I'm like, look, this wasn't done, this wasn't done, this wasn't done. So I had people call me who mistakes were made because they decided not to hire an attorney. I know nowadays people use AI when they speak to me, which is fine. Sometimes I write an email draft, I have AI polish it. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's a reliance on trusting AI. Maybe some people trust AI more than they trust their lawyers. Well, that's I would say it's a problem because if you hired some, there's nothing wrong with question. Right? I welcome questions. I welcome questions. Sometimes and to make a typo, I always ask my clients, check over, like well, especially with something crucial like final settlement statement, like hey, like, make sure, I check 10 times to make sure there's no typos. Absolutely. Or if you don't understand something, ask me 10 times. Don't ask me once, ask me 10 times. But I don't think AI is there yet to, to replace the legal counsel. And there's just so many things. So I would absolutely not recommend at first in trusting unreliable AI. As cool as AI is, and we spoke about, uh, you know, trusting an AI over an attorney, not a good idea.
But do you see that happening a little bit? Like, or do you think people are going to do that? Because, like I said, there's always that. I know it's not a good idea at all. I mean, I know that you know that the person in this field knows that, right? But there's always those people that have, but then they realize, I guess you're right. Then they realize they really do need an attorney because they don't know everything. And then end up signing up with an attorney so late. And you're like, you killed your cakes.
It has happened. It has happened where a person would have gotten more money and they done everything properly.
Yeah. So hard, so frustrating when there's like stubborn people like that. They think they can save that 30%, but in the long run, it's actually like they're losing out on more.
I would say most of the time. I would say so. Now there are of course certain situations when it's let's say it's a 10 car crash and there's one person at fault and the person has bare minimum insurance and then an injured person that goes to the hospital. There are certain situations where a person might not need a lawyer because maybe that insurance company would just tender or settle so fast. I mean that a lawyer probably would not get that person more because there may not be a sense in suing that defendant who's, poor, doesn't have recoverable assets, right? So there is certain situation, and I will tell, my clients again that Philip, this is a situation. I don't know if if my services will help you. There's certain rare situations like that. So and I'll be frank with potential clients or clients about that. But most of the time, definitely you should trust somebody with experience. Especially in PI where my compensation depends on how well I perform for you. So the more the overall settlement is, the more you make, the more I make.
Nothing beats experience. I bet.
I agree.
Yeah, it's so true. All right, just a little fun stuff. And what are you planning on doing for the summer? Do you have any summer plans?
Working.
Oh my gosh, Alex. No, like, are you going to travel anywhere? Are you going to go on a family vacation?
Nothing's really planned.
Oh boy.
But we rarely go out on vacations.
You guys need to go. You need to go someplace. I am gonna be a bossy friend and say, like, just even a weekend, like a long weekend. It's a nice thing to do as family.
Once in a while. I mean,
It's like
as long
Disney.
as there's coverage, as long as somebody is helping me out, and I'm not like nervous waking up in the middle of the night thinking I forgot something about a case. Sometimes,
Do the kids like Disney? How do you?
yes. I mean, our youngest is 3, so he's like almost there. I think, well,
Oh, okay.
just about for maybe Magic Kingdom.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's just like it's yeah,
Probably better though when it's winter time in Florida.
it is. But summer is probably less crowded though, because winter time is usually like crazy in parks. It's everybody wants to go. It's
Yeah,
gorgeous. Yeah. Summer's a little rough. Um, but it's okay. So no plans.
no plans. Maybe we'll have the bossy friend make the plans for us.
I think I might.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we'll think about this. Or if anybody has any suggestions for you, what you should do for the summer, maybe they should comment
Okay. No problem.
and have some comments on that.
I'll take the suggestion.
Yeah. Kind of fun where they think you should travel to, or where they would like to see you travel to.
With all the AI, maybe I should get an AI assistant to cover me when
There you go. There
I'm
you
on
go.
vacation.
People will never even notice. It can like down to your voice and all this other stuff. That's so crazy.
So certain companies, like personal injury support companies, came out with these AI bots that offer you pre-fill information, and you have the AI bot call an insurance company to open a claim. So I always used to open claims. I'll leave it for the end of the day when I'm back home, the family's asleep, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm calling like Geico or Progressive or State Farm, because opening a claim is a repetitive process. Ask you about which cars were involved or whatnot, or what happened, VIN numbers of vehicles, names of people. And now, like, and I'm that serious, you could pre-fill information, click to have the bot call. At first I didn't fully believe it when I saw the product, right? I'm like, oh, probably it's not gonna work. But then the company, the PI support company, that I guess they went through all the compliance and everything, so they trained the bot, right? So then there's this transcript because the bot calls and says, I'm telling you this is a recorded line. If it's okay, we're gonna proceed. So there's consent, there's permission, right? From and then the insurance agent says adjuster, claims department, whatever. Like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And I get a transcript of this conversation. You literally hear like two human beings talking, and I'm not sure whether the insurance employee even understands that they're talking to an AI individual, and maybe there should be I have to ask that company that does that for many PIs lawyers. Maybe there should be some kind of warning. I don't know about that, but basically you can hear the whole conversation. It says, hello, I'm from Alex's law firm, and would like to open a claim. And then they just okay, and then they ask them all the questions, and the AI bot answers. It gives all the answers, or enough for there to be the bare minimum. And then I get an email saying, look, the claim has been opened with Progressive, and it saves me so much time.
This is crazy. I did not know about this.
But until I actually heard the transcript, I didn't fully, I mean, I believed them, before I sign up. They take you through a little demo, whatever. Like, wow, this is real sci-fi. You might as well have C-3PO from Star Wars. You know Star Wars?
Yeah, I like Star Wars.
C-3PO from Star Wars calling, and just what they're missing, I guess, is a body or form. So you basically have these robots. That's very fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
And a good time saver.
It's great. Yeah, you don't have to do all that. I like Star Wars though.
How come you didn't tell me before? That's one of my favorite franchises.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, so then have you gone to the Star Wars park?
In Orlando?
Yeah.
Not yet. Because we don't travel, remember? Busy.
See, but that could be a fun family thing.
Okay, then we have tour guide.
Yeah.
We'll do
Like
a both
that and
different
Harry
video.
Potter. I really enjoyed the Harry Potter. I haven't been to the new one, but like the old one when I went, I'm like a couple years ago. It was probably like 15 years ago when they first opened up. But like I had butterbeer and I got to like, it was just fun, a fun experience. Um,
But Harry Potter we spoke about. Star Wars.
no,
It's the
Star Wars
first
we
time
have
we're doing
not
it.
spoken
Right.
about. I don't think I could do a Star Wars trivia, but I have watched all the episodes or all like I only like the Star Wars episodes like
Original trilogy.
yes, thank you.
Okay.
Not the ones that they did the spin-offs of the like that came out a couple years ago that people
This-
seem to love.
So I can go on the record.
Go on
So
the-
it's not.
Go,
It's a
everybody,
legal interview.
for the
It's
record.
not a Star Wars interview, but I cannot stand the sequel trilogy. The sequels, those that came out with the original actors, like in 2015, 2017, 2019, horrible movies. I wish they never existed. So the sequels, I like the original trilogy, and I grew to like the prequels.
Yeah, the prequels are
The
great.
prequels, they're very good.
I thought the prequels were fantastic.
With all due respect to people who worked on the sequels, they're not good. I'm in the camp that says that they're not good.
No, I can't get it. Like but I do like the one that they came out a couple years ago, and they brought the old characters back.
You mean the TV show, The Mandalorian?
No.
You mean the sequels?
So what was the one that came out a couple years ago? They had like the old Princess Leia on there, or like
Yeah, so there are three sequel, the trilogy, the what happened to the characters like 30 years later.
yeah,
You like those?
there was one that was good.
Okay, fine. I don't. I always agree with everything you say,
One.
so I'll. But in general, I'm just not a fan of what they did with them. But we could talk
Uh-huh.
about it.
I'll have to rewatch them,
Yeah.
and we can talk about this because I haven't watched them in a long time. Well, pretty much since they came out. So I'll have to rewatch them. But that's hysterical. All right, Star Wars. We'll have to have an episode of Star Wars.
Absolutely. Well, maybe instead of my suit, I can come in a costume.
What's your costume?
I don't know yet. I'll get one.
I
I don't think I
actually-
look like any Star Wars character.
It's so funny. I actually know somebody else who's a big Star Wars fan. I should probably connect you guys. No, because it's so funny because he also does. He's in the insurance business and kind of similar fields. But that probably would be a big connection for
I'm
him.
all for networking.
Yeah, look at that. See, this is where I go with
Yeah.
networking because I'm like, you never know. Plus, like you guys are like, I have some similarities. I think it'd be good. That's so funny. We were just like literally talking about this last night because I was at a networking event last night, and he was there, and it all came up in conversation. Things. So funny. All right, Star Wars. See, and then what other shows or movies are you interested in?
Again, nowadays there's no time. My wife and I picked one show, and we're lucky if we get through
Well,
an
there's
episode.
movies that you've enjoyed.
But you need to make time to go to the movies. It's listen. We'll see. Maybe one day I'll be able to do good work for the clients, and at the same time, and for my family, and at the same time make some time to go.
We'll come back.
Well, the new Star Wars movie just came out, actually. It's been a long time since it came out. So, there has been a TV show called The Mandalorian, which is actually very good.
Okay.
Very, very good TV show. And then instead of making season number 4, they came out with a movie, and I haven't seen it yet. So, maybe that's...
Well, that's a wrap for today. We're going to bring Star Wars. We'll bring other things together, and we'll have other things to talk about. More about who you are also.
Oh, thank you.
Because I think it's important. So your audience gets to know who you are. You're not just a personal injury and a dad. You are a personal injury attorney.
Right.
Oh my gosh. You're not just personal injury. But you have more to you and you do other things. You have other interests. And so your audience will get to know you better and everything. But thank you so much, Alex. This is awesome. Fantastic. We'll do this again.
Always a pleasure.